Hello, friends. Welcome. I moved my layout slightly because I was procrastinating about this thing I'm about to draw. I know, right? It's gonna be so hard to let everybody know. Oh wait, is the chat still like broken? Why you gotta do this to me, chat? Sometimes when the chat's like not the right size, it like looks broken and weird on my overlay. And I don't really know how to do anything about that, so if it's cut off today, oh well. Can you tell I'm still procrastinating? Thank you, Death Hunter, for the follow. I appreciate it. Okay. Guess I'll draw this crowd scene. Ugh. Probably something like that. Probably something like this. Probably like a whole other thing up here, maybe. Cecil's hacking my Twitch. Oh no. How rude. Let's say like that. This isn't. Oops. This isn't accurate. And neither is this. So what I'm doing now is showing like the interior of this party. So there's going to be a lot of people in it is the thing. So it's like all people all the way down. And that's why I don't want to draw it, because it's going to be a lot. And then there's like a bunch of people down here. So there's going to be like a foreground with like people up on this balcony. And then like a mid-ground with folks on the floor. Could probably move this up a little and squeeze more people in the foreground. Probably like a whole crowd of people. How did this look from before? I think it was like this shape. Boy, the perspective in this is already just not correct. I had a drag queen in the crowd? Okay. We're gonna do it. I have to like figure out how I'm gonna even construct this crowd is the problem. So maybe if I do it like with them in the foreground. I almost don't want to do that though, because I like kind of did that already at some point. Look at that first panel, and that feels too similar. I don't know though. Let's try it and see what happens. Alright, so these are our boys in the foreground. Then this is like probably a little lower. This is like the floor. Doing it this way is good because it means I don't have to figure out the perspective problems I was having before with the doorway and stuff. Maybe I'll set this to be a little further that way. And then there's going to be like people back here. And then lots of people over here. And lots of people up top. Let's say the staircase comes down this way. So there's going to be people up here. We're just doing big scribbles for all these people. We'll say there's like a big bunch of like windows here that don't make sense. Maybe I'll make them paintings. Maybe that's better. Okay. Oh, I already don't want to do this. We'll say this hallway kind of continues further back this way instead. Bunch of people, and then we gotta leave room for a couple text bubbles. Let's say like one up here. And like one down here. Actually, let me do those on this layer so it's easier for me to keep track of them when I start turning things on and off. Okay. So of course the easy way would be to start with these boys because I know what they look like, but that's probably not the smart way to do it. The smart way would probably be to decide what the background functionally is going to look like, and then put the people in on top of that, and then put the boys on top of that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn this drawing guide on and try to figure out how in the world to make this place look like anything. Just gonna put a bunch of lines. This is basically me figuring out how to... I guess I probably do want this to be like a double staircase, probably. Silver! Thank you. I appreciate your subscription. I don't know if I said that to you earlier also, but I appreciate yours too, Key. I was busy procrastinating in my brain with this thing that I'm now inflicting upon myself. So we can get rid of those things. Can put another one here. I should probably be using the perspective tool for or the symmetry tool for this, actually. If this is going to be a symmetrical thing. It's slightly not at the center though, so maybe not. Maybe that's a bad plan. Okay, so this is the floor. Keep remembering to turn this back on. It's more relaxing than you thought. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you are relaxed by it. Turnip, hello. Welcome. Welcome to this nightmare that I've given myself. You know, some people come home from work and they're like, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna watch TV, I'm gonna read a book. But this person decided to say, hey, what if I draw a party? What about that? I kind of just want to do it this one time, just so I never have to do it again. So that you can understand, like, oh, it's a party. And then every other party scene is going to have scribbles like this, and you're not going to be able to tell what's going on. That's my plan. I feel like if I kind of had like time to draw this to like the level that I would want to draw it, it would take so much longer. Because make no mistake, we're gonna cut corners in this thing. It's gonna be wholly inaccurate. Oh, I still have the drawing thing turned on. So we'll say something like that, I guess. I don't know how sconces look. This portrait in the middle is too skinny compared to the other ones, but it's fine. It's not that fine. I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it over here so that it looks like it's supposed to be in the middle. I didn't move it correctly. Man, I'm gonna use the perspective thing, or the mirror thing. Ugh. Okay. Fine, okay. Welcome to the stream where I just spend the entire time complaining. And I guess it's a monster bash. I don't know. Ah. Sorry, I'm still like slightly fixated on this chat being like awkwardly cut off on my screen. I'm gonna move this here so I don't keep accidentally breaking things. Does this do anything? Chat, why are you like this to me? Why must you do this to me? Oh, wait, I think it's gone. Oh, wait. Hold on. Okay. I may have fixed it. I know it's not gonna make the jar go away, but let me let me try. Let me try my hardest, okay? Let me live my life. Oh, why thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. The problem with using the symmetry tool is that you can't also use the tool that makes it so everything is like snapped into a 90-degree grid or whatever. Because I would love to do a both, but I can't. I also feel like I should probably be looking at reference for this hallway, because I'm certain that there's like details that would exist on this wall that I'm just currently not going to draw. Symmetry tool, saving me time. Masquerade sequence from Phantom of the Opera. Maybe. I think the problem is just this, like, big ol' hallway is definitely not, like, the scale that I had in mind when I started. I think that's the problem I'm currently running into here. Because I'm thinking of, like, 4 different Spooky Mansion type places, you know? Got some, like, Haunting of Hill House vibes, but also, like, some Resident Evil vibes, but also, like, some Eyes Wide Shut vibes. That's, like, what I'm generally going for here. I don't know how sconces work. That's good enough, though. When your millionaire husband dies of mysterious causes. Oh, you know what? That's actually a good thing that will help me to... Oh. I hate that you've given me this wonderful idea, because now I have to implement it. universes. But honestly, like, I always wanted this. If I was rich enough to just have, like, statue money, you know what I mean? I would want statues. As creepy as they are, I would want some statues in my home. We'll say, like, it's a person, and they're, like, standing like this. It's like a flowy robe or something. But they, like, don't fully have arms because it's a fancy statue. We'll say they have, like, one of those big helmet dealies. Statues are just rich people Funko Pops. You're not wrong. Chubby version of David. See, I could do that, but then also it's like an additional amount of detail that I would have to, like, be aware of. And I don't know if I want to do that. But I do need a centerpiece here, so... David has, like, one hand up with the sling, right? And then one hand, like, down. Oh, he got that contrapposto pose, that's right. We'll put, like, a leaf on there or something later. Wider and taller. What if we just do, like, the birth of Venus and put, like, a clam shell or whatever? I don't want to do that, that's too much work. It's already enough keeping track of all this nonsense in this room. I'm just gonna fill this whole thing in. Wait, no, I'm not gonna do it that way. That would be stupid of me. Because then I won't be able to see anything behind this. I also don't have the little tool turned on, which I'm just now realizing, so we get to erase twice as much. Isn't that fun? What a fun time for me. Let's go with this color I never use. I lied. I don't wanna. Let's go with this one instead. So I can very clearly tell this is, like... Okay, maybe not very clearly. It's not dark enough to be very clearly. That's fine, I guess. I guess that's fine. Alright, so this is our little... back hallway situation. The girth of Venus, oh boy. You know what, I'm not gonna worry about it. It's fine the way it is. Okay. So this is all of our background elements in a very, like, you know, pretty casual kind of way. Now, if I wanted to make this a little more interesting, what I could do is shift this slightly this way, like I had initially thought. But I don't want to do that. Something about it being centered just kind of seems fancier, more imposing somehow. I don't know. Anyways, on to the next thing. Let's go with green, I guess. I lied. Let's go with this color. Yeah. So this is gonna be our upstairs crowd. This is the crowd that is going to hopefully be very ill-defined. And I'm not using the symmetry tool anymore because it's gonna look super weird if this crowd is like perfectly symmetrical, because that would never happen in a room full of people unless it was planned. And that it would be like way scarier to walk into a room full of people and they're just like completely all planned out, standing and staring at you. Ugh. Like a flash mob, yeah. I was thinking more of like the empty man, but also a flash mob, I guess, would be pretty terrifying in the real world too. If you haven't checked out the empty man, by the way, I feel like I mentioned this on a stream already before, but it's worth checking out. It was marketed in a stupid way to make it seem like it was a scary boogeyman thing, but it's not. I recommend it. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do for that, I guess. Oh, well, thank you, Lionel. Lionel? Lionel. Thank you. Thank you. And you do not have to worry about however little or however much you give. I am not in this for the money. I'm not one of those Twitch streamers that got that got their earnings all put out there today. Boy, howdy, this looks rough. Ugh. What a figure. But yeah, thank you. Any amount is a wonderful gift, and I appreciate it very much. I'm in it for the hot babes. So this is all gonna be generally on the same level. It is again going to be hopefully not very well defined, because if I decide to add a ton of detail here, it's going to make me quite sad. because I don't want to draw each and every one of these people. That's one of the good things about crowds is if it's like a ton of people, sometimes you can just make a cloudy shape like I'm doing right now and fill it with like a darker color and people will read it as people. Like more people than you can notice. Okay, so this will be where we start putting actual people. And these are all going to be like kind of far away people. But you'll be able to sort of make out what is going on with them. Put another person over here. That's too close to that shape. Put another guy over there. Put a person over here in the back. Put a tall person over there. I'm simultaneously trying to make a somewhat natural looking group of people while also using some of these people to hide some of these like not accurate things in the background. Let's go with this color for this next layer. That's not dark enough. Let's go with this color for this layer. Okay, so we want like a person here. And like a person over here. And then like a person right here. Maybe not that short because we have to consider that these boys are in the foreground. Probably one more here and one more like here. Maybe one like here and then one like here. Okay. And just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to fill this with black so that I can properly in my brain block out that this is where the boys go. Turn this off for just a second so I can fully figure out what I'm doing. Okay. Oh man, you guys. See, the sketching part is fun. This part that we've accomplished so far is a fun thing that we just did together. But now comes the part that I don't want to do, which is the part where I have to actually figure out what is actually going on. And I kind of don't want to at all. So I guess we're going to just do this in the same sort of stages that we just did. So I'm going to turn all these other things off. And we're just gonna go down the line like we just kind of set up. This is part of the reason that I didn't want to change this background angle, is because I can leave the perspective tool where it is. So we'll see how this goes. So while I'm establishing what's happening here, this might be a good time to ask about some costume ideas for the myriad of people that I'm going to have to draw soon. Any thoughts? Any little... One of them's going to be a drag queen. We already got that Easter egg in there, in the pipeline. But are there any others that you guys think I should try? A shark. A shark like, oh, I could do like Left Shark from whatever Super Bowl that was many years ago. Like one of those kind of sharks, maybe? Someone with the same costumes as Jesse and Tank, that would be very funny. Baby shark. A slutty janitor. Oh no. Dinosaur costume, maybe. Fruits and veggies like Veggie Tales. The angle of the thing I just drew is off, and I don't want to fix it, so I won't. But just know that I'm aware that it's off. Please. Please do not at me about this staircase that is busted. A box robot? Nice. That could be... The house is shifting. It's all very spooky. Broccoli? No, I have not had a hand injury from drawing, although I have had like soreness from the combination of like drawing a lot and also work demanding a lot of me at the same time, if that makes sense. And also playing video games at the same time. Not like all simultaneously, but like all of those things in quick succession of one another. Gave me a bunch of wrist strain, so as a result, I have done what I can for work-related things, and I don't play the game that hurt my wrist so bad as much anymore, which honestly is probably for the best, because that game was League of Legends, and that game can be very toxic. Still play Destiny a lot though, but that's not quite as taxing on my wrist as right-clicking infinitely for League of Legends. Karen and the manager. Why are all the costumes so slutty? Friends, please. At first, I was kind of concerned about having this railing line up with these stairs, but I have since decided to say whatever. It is just gonna be what it is. The cool thing about the perspective tool is that sometimes you can just turn stuff off and be like, oh yeah, there's a whole other half of this that's already done. What a novel concept. Someone's got to be dressed as the coral bear. The coral bear is going to be dressed as something. The coral bear is at this party. Coral bear is going to have a costume. That's the thing about the coral bear, is sometimes it just is there. No one acknowledges it. It's like a cryptid. Sometimes it's just around. Nobody knows where it comes from or why. We're just gonna say that this railing's old, because I don't feel like making my line straight. If I had that other drawing assist turned on, I could have done that, but then I would have to turn off the drawing assist for the perspective thing, and I don't want to do that, because that means I have to do twice as much work. And no one has time for that. Doing the Bigfoot pose. It's not even the Bigfoot pose, it's just like around, but nobody sees it. It just happens to be there. It's like an SCP. Where like seeing it somehow makes you forget that it exists. Or like you see it and then you know that it exists in that moment, but then the second you look away, you're like not even aware that it was there. Unevenness adds to the spooky factor, I guess. I suppose. I'm gonna have to look up a wall sconce here in a second, because it's gonna bother me for all of eternity if I don't even at least attempt trying to put one in properly. We're gonna make this a little darker on the bottom. Some implied cast shadows going on here. But yeah, statues are really cool. I wish I had the space and or money for a statue. Or like multiple statues preferably, but I don't have statue money. I feel like they would be very spooky and creepy. I was trying to say both of those words at the same time, and my brain just did not want me to. Alright, so we gotta be Gotta be somewhat decisive here. With our lineage. But yeah, statues are like really cool, is what I was getting at and completely forgot about trying to say. There's a documentary that I saw on YouTube about a person who does like marble sculpting. And ever since then I've wanted to like commission a person to do a marble sculpture, but at the same time it's like, geez, the amount of work needed for a marble sculpture. Let's say it's gonna come over like this, I guess. With like a thing down here. Something like this, I guess. And Ra's being transfixed on them. I cannot do that without spoiling it. But that's all I will say. How do those big old helmets look? It's like this. It's like awkwardly leaning back, and I hate it. I hate it because it's like making this more difficult than it needs to be because it looks weird. It kind of comes over like that, and then kind of comes out like that. It kind of comes out like that. Looks like Magneto's helmet a little bit. This needs to be a little closer though. there's like a... It's like a this thing. Oops. Like a this thing. Like a... I am currently thinking about how glad I am that the symmetry tool exists, because I don't want to have to draw this twice. Chubby eye sculpture. Could be done. Just means even more ice than a regular sculpture, you know? Sorry, my brain is like trying to figure out what lines I want here and what lines I don't, while also trying to make this not look very sloppy and sketchy, even though it's going to be in the background, so it probably should be, but... Ice sculpture, but it's also an ice luge. Alright, so now I have to turn this off to do this thing. I'm trying to strike a balance here between like loose and sketchy lines, but also decisive and intentional looking lines. Oops. Like, I don't want it to look too much like a, oh, I didn't mean to do that kind of thing. Turn up, don't get mad at me. I'm on Twitch. Twitch would be mad if I didn't. I don't want the terms of service coming after me. I think he has like a slang or something. Because it's like David or something. That's not important. This like establishing shot scene would be a good place to like hide some foreshadowing or something. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't really want to do that at this point. Oh, that looks pretty not great. That's a little better. But like maybe if I wasn't streaming, it would be like paintings and statues of like stuff that's gonna happen later, because I think that would be funny. What do wall sconces look like? Oh. Oh, I don't want to deal with those things. I'm just gonna come up with something. Pixaria, hello. Welcome. Okay. Torches. That's kind of what I'm gonna go for, I think, but not really. Yeah, okay, I'll do torches. I guess it'll be easier. Oh, I'll do this thing. No, wait. That's fine where it is. Okay. Something like this. Some real big fire. Actually, I hate this. Heading undo a bunch. I went too wide with the initial torch shape, I think, is what the problem was. This is like one of my favorite little things about torches and fire and stuff. Is you draw like the fire shape right, but then you also draw like the little inside part. But it has to, the important thing is that it has to not touch the edge of the fire. I see that in comics and stuff a lot, but I almost never draw fire effects, so I never get to use it. But it sort of gives the illusion of like the fire is engulfing something, and there's a thing on fire actually in there. Oops, I thought I had the eraser. I did not. If you could date the sculpture, you would. Follow your dreams and stuff, I suppose. Okay, I don't really want to do any detail for the paintings, so I won't. What I will do, though, is fill in this layer with this color, I guess. And then we'll do this color for back here. I need this to be here for a second. I'll probably use the color I'm currently using as the color for the crowd of people upstairs. And I'll use like black for the crowd of people in this little section. Oh geez, why did that happen? Oh, this isn't fully connected. Oh. Okay. This feels ever so slightly too dark, so I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. So that's that. I'm going to move this layer to just here. I'm going to have to do this in 2 parts, unfortunately, because I planned poorly. Make the crowd ever so slightly shorter in that spot, just so you guys can really enjoy this sculpture, I guess. But the reason I'm saying I'm going to have to do this in 2 parts is because these should be in front of the sculpture, not behind it. So what I'll probably have to do is duplicate this and put it in front in a minute. But I want it to be behind this part down here. So kind of has to do both of those things. So let's see, it kind of comes over here. Okay. And let me turn this on so I don't have to do this 2 times. Slap it like a bag of potting soil. You just gotta be careful you don't break it, you know? You ever seen those like statues that are like all worn down and stuff from like folks coming by and like touching it in a same spot? Because I wasn't really paying attention or like caring much about the space between these posts for this railing, I'm also not paying attention or caring really about filling in the space behind said posts. So we're just kind of going with what we feel. Maybe in some cases it will follow these lines, but in some cases it will likely not, because it's not the important part. Stuff like this is also a very good thing about, like a thing that I see a lot in comics especially is that you have to kind of like pick your battles because you have like time constraints to work within. So like if I really wanted to, I could spend all day here with this drawing and make it like very accurate, very perfect, get all the angles correct. But it would take me a lot longer than I'm willing to spend on it, and also it's like almost 10 o'clock, and I want to post this on Twitter before midnight. So, what that means is I'm going to just do stuff to kind of imply things where I can. Gonna copy all of this and put it above that. But yeah, so I'm just sort of implying some things like the space between the railings or whatever. You see that in comics a lot, especially when it's like a traditional medium, where if this was like paint, it would be a much more... You'd be like much more forgiving about it, I suppose. Be like, oh yeah, that's clearly what that's meant to be. Every now and again you'll see folks who are like, I'm going to zoom in on this one panel specifically, but that one panel is probably not the focus of the page, so it was never meant to be held up to that level of scrutiny. It's meant to just sort of be like a thing that you see and then move on. I'm gonna start putting all those sketch layers in a group so that I can just kind of keep track of it that way. Okay, so next we've got this up here. I'm going to try black and see how that goes. I may change it later, but we'll see. No, when it's time for perfection, it's icky. It's true. I mean, there are some folks who are like, that's like their thing, right? They're like very accurate, very perfect, very good. And if this was for like some other thing where that would be like important, then like yes, accuracy and perfection is like definitely what you should strive for. But given the context of like what I'm doing, it does not need to be the Sistine Chapel, you know? We're just totally fine with some blobs that are maybe in the right spot, maybe in the wrong spot. I don't think I'm going to leave this layer black. I just need it to be darker than the crowd that's up top, and also darker than this background that I'm currently, this dark gray that I'm currently drawing over. But I'm going to try and leave the black for just the boys in the foreground and for the lines. Of course, somewhere there's not a closed line. Always this is the case for me. But yeah, if this was like a video game environment or something, you know, then you would probably want it to be like relatively perfect, because someone would be able to sort of scrutinize it that far. This person's a vampire, I've decided. They get a cloak and a cape. But yeah, because they would be able to like walk around and fully scrutinize this whole situation, you wouldn't be able to cut those corners. You would have to cut corners in spots for sure, but not in the same way that you would for like what I'm doing right now. This person is a princess. So she gets a long flowy dress. And slender silhouette. I guess the dress would kind of be bunched up like that. She would be pulling it to climb up the stairs. I think that's how those work. I'm not some sort of expert. In fashion and or long dresses. Not a gown expert. I'm trying to imply a hand here without having to actually draw a whole hand here, because I don't want to draw a whole hand here. So there we go. This person... I don't really know what this person's deal is, but... they're just out here living. They're living their life, you know? Gamers would in fact scrutinize perfection, but that's what gamers do. Especially online when people don't fully understand how long things take or how much effort it takes to make them. This guy's got his hands in his pockets because he's too cool. Let's say this person is a detective, so they've got a fedora. Wow, that's rough. I hate this so much. This person is... I don't know, man. They're just a person. It's fine. Whatever. Okay, so this color seems okay. I'm just gonna grab this here. And fill that like that. So it's not quite black, but it's pretty close. He's Mothman. Off-duty magician. All good things. Come, get in the sketch layer. Okay. What's next? Oh, now we're on like the actual visible people, so I'm gonna group all these together. Multiply does nothing for me. That might be okay. Mr. Game & Watch. Yes. I'm also noticing that people on the stairs are quite small, so... I'm gonna make this a bigger person. Didn't want to move him just there. person's gonna need to be larger as well. Spooky Dracula. Little people exist. I mean, it's true. But like proportionally, they were quite small. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if it's a shorter person, but they're not like borrowers or little fairy people. Like, proportionally, it's fine. They just need to not be super teeny tiny. Okay, so next let's go with, let's say this is this color. And I'll do another layer afterwards that's like not that color. What if I make it this? Is this the color I'm using right now? Yes. I'm gonna make it this color just for the sake of being somewhat easier to see. But this layer of people I'm gonna be treating sort of like the way that I would like an impressionistic sort of like watercolor sketch, where I'm just going to be filling in this whole thing with like a color, and then I'm going to come back with like black or whatever outline color I decide on. And then fill in those detailed marks and shapes that way. I guess this probably comes way down here. Okay. So now I can put this up here and kind of turn this down a little bit. And we'll come back with black here and do some of those things. Okay, so what were some of those things? Oh, someone was like left shark. This person's quite small. But that's fine. Slutty janitor. We're not doing a whole bunch of slutty costumes, you guys. We'll say this person is like a... I was going to do like a football player, but I immediately realized I don't fully know how football player helmets work. This is the worst. Oh yeah, I guess we should do In Among Us. So that'll be this person. It's literally just like a trash can. Let's say this person is like just someone with a hat on. That's somehow part of their costume. They got on a hat. Since you did the points for the drag queen, I'm gonna do the drag queen in the layer in front of this so that you can see it a little bit more clearly. If you're wondering why I didn't say anything about the drag queen thing. Sure. For that, I guess. He's cosplaying a child. I was thinking like Ness. So I guess there's that. Speed Racer. Okay. Speed Racer helmet. He has like a... He's like an ascot from what I remember. Oops. Helmet posse. This is just the... Oops. The, I'm gonna Google everything stream. Oh, he has like a shirt. I don't know why he had like a... I was thinking he had like some kind of other racing attire. It's like a M. And then he has like a... this thing. Power Rangers. I'm gonna turn this layer off so that I don't keep confusing myself. Power Rangers. We're doing it. Waluigi, because he's sad he didn't get into Smash. Poor Waluigi. We're not going to put him in the corner, though, because I'm just going straight across at this point. Waluigi. Wah. He has like a hat. Sort of like that. I want to make sure I get his like weird mustache in there. His weird hat detail in there. Oh, and he has like weird sideburns or something. His hat is more like a this shape. Kira, thank you for the follow. Micah, hello. He cries about simple and clean. Okay, so... And then he's got, like, overalls, because... Waluigi. This is just kind of looking like Mario from behind, unfortunately. But that's fine. Turn this down and leave this turned on so I know where I need to stop with these costumes. Does he? He does have pointy ears, you're right. Where? Frankenstein's monster, okay. Big, boxy head. Completely unnecessary bolts. There was like a shark robot person as well. For fashion, duh. Of course, of course. So we're gonna do the box robot. But I don't want to do them right next to Frankenstein over here with this big boxy head. So I'll do them closer to the other side. Just because it'll look weird if two boxy people are next to each other. All those helmeted people next to each other is also going to look slightly weird, but it won't, like, two boxy people right next to each other because they're so different is going to stand out more, is my thought process there. I could be very wrong, but I suppose we'll find out together. It's too big. What else was some stuff? Shocked Patrick Starface. I could do Patrick over here, actually. A stenographer. I don't know how I'm going to draw a stenographer and make it look like a stenographer from the chest up, especially. I've decided. I have made a decision. Because Frankenstein was like leaning in a weird way, I've decided to make this one Marge Simpson because it reminded me of the the Marge Simpson meme where she's like leaning, about to dance. So that's what we've got going on over here. Easter egg is out of stock because someone has already redeemed an Easter egg for this one, Micah. But there's tons of costumes, so if you have an idea for a costume, I'll probably put it in. Stenographer. Is this even a thing I can do? What's a stenographer even look like? They're gonna have bangs, I guess. They're gonna have like a piece of paper and something, I guess. We did do a crewmate from Among Us already. There is one in here. Being sus, as the kids say. Pencil and a hair bun? That's probably a little better than this thing I was doing here. Oh no. A little typewriter thing. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. What's new? Not much is new. We're adding people with costumes. Let's do robot over here. He's made of boxes, so... Perspective is slightly off, but that's fine. We'll just say the box is busted somehow. He's got like little tube arms. Spooderman. We'll put a Piderman back here. I was hoping I could cut corners here, but I can't. If you don't draw it like a web, it doesn't look like Spider-Man, unfortunately. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Doing whatever a spider can. Thick beard. There is a Power Ranger in here somewhere, yes. Oh yeah, Sora. The heck does his hair even do from behind? I remember it's weird. It's like dumber than it should be. For my tenure as a child drawing fan art. Sora from Kingdom Hearts was one of the first things that I drew a lot of, I remember. I even had like an OC that like looked very much like Sora but had red hair instead. And I was all like, no, it's my OC. Looking back on it now, it's like very clearly Kingdom Hearts ripoff, but at the time, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be the coolest. It's very funny to think about now. But because of that, I have a general idea of like the things about Sora that I can just draw quickly, which is what happened here. We're gonna draw another person in front of them though, so that it kind of covers it up, because it looks goofy. We live in a society. Okay. Joker. I'm gonna go with the most recent Joker, though. I could do the one that has damage written on his face, but that feels like too small a detail. Oh, that's the stairs. I was like, why isn't this erasing? Oh boy. Waldo from Where's Waldo? I'll do it. Not the Jared Leto Joker. There's something very freeing about doing like goofy background characters that I definitely don't care about at all in terms of like rendering them fully. This is more of like this shape, I think. But like every now and again, just doing something like this, it's like very goofy. Very silly and not a thing that I'm like taking very seriously. It can be very fun. Plus I'm a fan of like Easter eggs in general, so it'll be fun getting to see other folks who are not here watching the stream, who are like, oh, look at this character and this character. Those are always fun comments to see. But you guys will know all the secrets. Am I on the right layer? Yes. Don't scare me like that, Micah. Terrified. What am I doing? Waldo. He's got glasses and kind of like wavy hair, I guess. Yeah, Silver, this is all on one layer. Doing it separately on every layer would actually take me more time. Okay, so now that we've got all that figured out, we can go in and fix this layer that was beneath it. I can put this into the sketch layers. But yeah, doing all of these like individual people on their own separate layer would probably be good if I wanted to include all of the detail for all of them. But for something quick like this, putting all of them on a separate layer would slow this whole process down by like a lot. Because I'd have to keep stopping and making new layers just to do like a couple of lines, only to stop and then make a new layer and do a couple more lines, you know? Oops. Oh no, not everything is all on one layer. Just these people are. Well, they're technically two layers. It's a layer for all the lines and then one layer beneath for this like flat color fill situation. But then all the lines for the background are one layer and the fill for the background is one layer. It's less layers than it looks, but it's not a ton of layers because again it would just slow everything way down. That's part of the reason that I decided to stick with this limited grayscale palette for this project is because I could be much more quick about it with those things in mind. Like if I was to do each individual color properly, the palette would be like all over the place, but B, it would take a lot more layers and a lot more focus and a lot more time. And I knew that there would be days that I would super not want to do that. So I am in awe that we have put a stenographer in here. I cannot believe it. When I woke up this morning, I didn't expect to be drawing a stenographer today. You know? It's just one of them days. See you later, Kira. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a wonderful night. Or whatever time it is for you. Slutty stenographer. Cannot believe. Although, I think our stenographer is much more reserved than slutty, but there is a stenographer in here. And that's the important thing, I think. I love this goofy Power Ranger so much. It's so silly. Okay. Now I can turn that other layer back on. Think of how fast those fingers are. Oh, jeez. Okay, so I don't want to draw too much attention to this layer, so I'm going to knock it down a little more. That's not what I wanted. But yeah, because the other layers that are going to go above it are I'm going to want those to stand out a little bit more. Specifically these boys. So we're going to need like a lighter layer between those two things, you know? Goofy Power Ranger needs to be a meme. It has some Pepe vibes, I think. So like I feel like it could be if we really tried hard enough, but the best way to make something not a meme is to try and force it to become a meme. I'm doing essentially the same thing that I just did on that layer above. Like the same technique. So I'm just gonna fill in the silhouette of the layer and then I'll put in the details on top. So I'll have to put this layer up here just so I can make sure I'm stopping where I need to stop. Okay, so this is the layer that our drag queen is on. We're gonna put them like right here, maybe? Is there a specific drag queen that you think I should do, Jinx? Or like, should I be Googling some reference right now? Meme philosophizer. I'm gonna take this moment to stretch and drink something. I actually have water. Gonna leave it up to me? Okay. The time has come for me to go to Google. Let's put them here, I guess. It's probably a little too much. Something like this. I lied. I don't want them to cover up too much of the layer behind, so put them over here instead. Because the big hair is part of it, you know? Unfortunately, all of the makeup effects are so difficult to do when I don't have access to color. That I would normally be using. I've decided I'm not going to draw this at all. So let's see. I guess. I want to show that very defined contour line that I see sometimes on the internet. But I can't really find a way to do it that doesn't look super weird, so I guess that's as good as we're gonna get. Name a cheese that's not yours is nacho cheese, man. Come on. Gotta come correct if you want to out dad joke the dad joker. Dad joker would be a very good Halloween costume, actually. If I just gave them a shirt that says I heart fracking. As the as the drag queen that you've requested. Joker, but he's in New Balance shoes. Nice. And yeah, slightly new layout. Only a little different from the last time I changed it. Just to give you more view of the screen that I'm drawing on, because that's like kind of the whole point of the stream. Not a fracking queen. Yeah, good enough. Good enough, I suppose. Fracking queen. Unfortunately, it covers up some of our Among Us and our shark friend over there. Maybe I can just draw another shark friend like in this space, since they're gonna get kind of covered up anyway. What's some other things? I need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. 7 more things. While I fill in this queen here. Sanic. Sanic is pretty good. Oh yeah, that's right, I almost forgot about the bear. I would have put the bear somewhere farther back if I would have remembered. Alright. I'm sneaking the bear in. We're gonna put the bear back here. Stop it. Plus it gives me a chance to fix some of these lines I never did. Bear. but he needs a costume or something. So let's see. Let's give him a little wizard hat. That doesn't look like a wizard hat. So maybe not a wizard hat. What's another hat? What's another thing? Give him a little crown. He's King Bear today. And actually, while I'm fixing things, let me add that shark person in that I was going to add in. Shark friend. It is an Among Us. I couldn't not put an Among Us in here. I feel like it would be weirder to make a crowd with costumes this large and not have an Among Us character in it at this point. In this, the year of our Lord 2021. Hey, we snuck him in. The bear finds a way. Oops. So anyways, that thing I was doing before. No, Key, I'm not coloring this. This is all going to be a grayscale situation. Because I am not an insane person. Scarlet Witch, okay. She has like a big M thing. The angle on the M thing is not quite right anymore. Because I've made this person have a 3/4 view, and I don't know if I want to fix it. The answer is, of course, yes, I do. I just didn't want to do it at the time. This drawing gives you some real insight into, like, how reluctant I am to do the work required to draw. I feel like most of the time drawing is like a balance between stuff that you want to do, stuff that you're able to do, and stuff that you need to do but you don't really want to do for the sake of other things that you want to do. What does the rest of her costume look like again? She has like, yeah. her a very round face. As amusing as that would have been. I'm being a little more loose here because I know I'm going to cover a lot of this up with Tank in a second. Scarlet Witch. Oh, I forgot to turn that back down. And that's like this kind of a shape. Good enough. I can probably get rid of this line. Doesn't need to be that big. I guess that's fine. Sure. What were the other things? Reggie? What does Reggie even look like? And can I... Oh, okay. So he's like a this shape. He's like a this. That's about as close as we're going to get to Reggie with this amount of space, to be honest with you. He's got, like, big eyebrows, I guess, with which to express his stern fatherly disapproval with nerds online. Hey, no problem. And I'll give him a suit or whatever. Reggie. We need another person, like here. A turtle? I'm just kind of scrolling through the chat, so this person is now a Ninja Turtle. That is what I've decided. That is what is happening. Unfortunately, they're going to have to cut off Reggie a little bit. I'm doing my best to not cut off too much of Reggie, but also I don't want this person's head to be super weird shaped and it kind of already is, but I don't want it to be too weirdly shaped, you know? Which Ninja Turtle should I make this one? Donnie? It's a Donnie Turtle then. He does machines, you guys. Is Donatello your favorite turtle? Just out of curiosity. Mine was Mikey. Because who doesn't love pizza? And comic relief characters. He does machines. I think his staff goes on this side. But because I don't want to cover up too much of Reggie, it's going this way this time. It might be hard to convey that this is a Ninja Turtle once I have all the things that are going to be covering it up, but as long as you guys know it's a Ninja Turtle, that's all that matters. At the start of this, I was really not looking forward to this drawing, but doing these goofy little characters has been pretty fun actually. Part of me wants to do this more often, and then part of me is like, why would you ever say such a thing? It's like that thing of where when someone gives birth and their brain makes them forget how horrible of an experience it was for them physically, so that you want to do it again. That's what's happening here right now with this drawing for me. Gotta erase this part. Okay. What's another costume suggestion, y'all? I think I probably have one here that I could do very good. And then the other ones I'll probably just do a little shape person. King Shark? I already did a shark person though. Oh yeah, someone did say Sonic. I'm gonna do Sonic instead since I already did a shark person. This person's gonna have goofy eyes because I can do that. Gotta go fast. Must go speedy. This is as much of the Sonic as we're doing. Because I'm going to be covering most of this with the other boys in a moment. Okay, so now I can turn all this other stuff off for like a second. I was not on the correct layer. How unfortunate for me. I love Reggie just creeping. It's so silly. I have to accelerate. Have to accelerate, it's very good. Chili dogs. No, wait, I guess he wouldn't eat chili dogs. Corn dogs. He just like chokes on a stick as he's running really fast. Okay, so we want this to be about this color, I think. Because again, I don't want it to be far too, like I don't want the contrast to be very extreme, because I want to be able to have these silhouettes stand out, and I'm going to do that by doing an all black layer with like a white outline. So if this is too close to white, then it won't stand out as much over here. That's my my thought process here for this. But first I have to fix Scarlet Witch's hair, because it is not looking great. Raw corn cobs. Oh no. That's too thick. Chomps the corn cob like a popsicle. Ugh. I hate this, Sonic. I'm not a fan of this character. I don't like what he's done. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And we've got little extra bits because he's a bear this time. This gross Sonic just creeping over here. Okay, so we want I want a little bit of a separation here to sort of denote that these are two separate people. I don't know how, but sometimes the nib of my pencil will come like unscrewed as I draw stuff. I think it's just from the way that I'm drawing things. I need for this to not intersect with that line in that way. Okay. This gross Sonic. Look at him back there. I gotta move this eye a little bit, because I need for it to be like looking directly at you. I feel like I should make it like actually this way, which is like the way that it would go, but something about it being sideways and like extra creepy is very funny to me. But this should help it read a little more that it's Sonic with his gross one eyeball. Okay, so that's fine. Those are just some boys. Where's that? There we go. So yeah, so I can turn off this and put this on the sketch. No, I can't, not yet. I have to put word bubbles still. This layer. I'm gonna make this extra large, just so I don't have to think and or work as hard. But yeah, I want to use like somewhat darker colors for all of the background so that this white appears very, very bright. Solely because I want the average person who is just scrolling through their timeline to right away see, oh, I'm supposed to see that these two characters are talking. Of course, I would like for them to notice all of the other stupid nonsense going on in this image. But, I'm gonna make this a little bit thinner just because I want to be able to see his nose, even though it kind of messes with the rest of this drawing, but that's fine. I'm willing to take that slight loss for the gain of his gross face being slightly more visible. But yeah, I want for the average person to see like right away that this is what I want them to notice, not necessarily all of the silly background elements that are occurring here. If they choose to stay and observe those things on their own, that is fine. They are welcome to do that. That's why they are there. But like, I guess it's kind of hard for you to see with the way that my setup is. But I just want this to be like a very noticeable, like you need to see that they're here kind of thing. Okay, so now we want to do some text. Not a lot of text on this one. It's a whoa, and it's a geez, that's a lot of people. I think I had been making them like 45. No. 55? 65. 65. Duplicate this layer. I'll put this down here. Oh, There's a layer somewhere that is turned off. Here. I was like, this looks like less people. Okay, so this one, he's gonna say something like, I don't know. Something like, I wouldn't have thought you could fit this many people in here. Okay. I'm very much fighting the urge to make this wouldn't have and just make it a double contraction. I want to make sure that my words are not too... this is like a graphic design situation now where I don't want to make... I don't want too many words on their own in this, which is why I was adjusting the length of it. I don't want, like, I didn't want here to be on its own line by itself, because that would look strange. No, this would be a widow. An orphan is when it is... a widow is when it's on a line by itself. An orphan is like a widow that crosses a page. So if it was like a word all by itself on the following page, that's an orphan. Or at least that's how it was explained to me. Maybe I'm misremembering though, because that one doesn't come up as much. And we want this to be bold and italic. I'll put the word even in here. Wouldn't have thought you could even fit this many people in here. Wow. But yeah, if I'm like wrong about the widow orphan thing, let me know. Because as far as I remember, that's how it goes. There's like a third thing too that I don't quite remember either, but that's not that important because it comes up even less often. Okay, so this one is Tank, so he gets this color bubble. I've decided I'm going to do these manually. And just sort of use this as a baseline. Just the name of the terms. I gotcha. Yeah, one thing I was not fully expecting when getting into graphic design is that you suddenly become like hyper aware of like grammar and stuff because you're constantly looking at words. Like in my day-to-day, I'm like the only person who cares about what the difference between an N dash and an M dash is, and yet it comes up more often than you would expect. But because no one cares, it's just like me silently being frustrated about people using the wrong one. And we used this color for him. We want this to be a nice large one. Okay, so there are 3 types of dashes, like hyphens, right? There's a hyphen that's the smallest. I'll put them all in the chat, I guess. So this is a hyphen. This is an M, N. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. Okay, maybe I'm not going to put them all in the chat. Okay, so there's a hyphen that is the smallest one. That's used to like conjoin 2 words, basically. Then there's an N dash, which is slightly longer than a hyphen, which is used for whenever you want to use like a dash to separate 2 things that are separate. I usually use this for like times of things, like this event goes from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. You would use that in between. And then an M dash is the longest one. And that's when you use it to separate parts of a sentence. It's not going to let me do it on here for some reason. Why? Why won't you let me do my thing? I'm just going to copy and paste them. Copying and pasting from somewhere else. Go away. Pop-ups. Okay, so this is a hyphen. This is an N dash. And this is an M dash. They're all basically the same thing. Which is why no one cares. But you use them for different things, and they appear differently on the page. The only time you can ever especially tell is like if you go from a hyphen, the smallest one, to an M dash, which is the longest one. You'll usually see like an M dash when people put like 2 hyphens next to each other in a sentence sometimes, like this, because it's about the same length. And that's my thing about grammar. It's very boring, so I'm not going to talk about it for very long. But I think that's about it for this, so I'm going to put my name somewhere on this thing. I'll put it up here. Yeah, it's basically just a small, medium, and large situation for dashes. But it's one of those things that, like, I had a person who was, like, very, very much, like, use the right one. So because of that, I just am always thinking about using the proper one. And then, like, when I see other people using the not right ones, then I'm like, oh man, you didn't mean to use that. You meant to use this thing that you definitely don't know about. But yeah, so that's a crowd scene. What I could do, I suppose, is one more layer where I sort of further separate some of these people up here. This is a completely unnecessary part of this piece. It's just kind of here to make this look like even more people than it already is. What you'll see sometimes people do, and maybe that is what I'll do here actually instead of this. Did I just make this its own layer? I did, okay. Cool. Is sometimes you'll see like this move where people will just sort of fill in shapes like this instead. This is probably honestly the easier way to go about this instead of that thing I was just doing. Nope, can't put that there. Something like that. And then it's like, oh, this is a lot of people, you know? I could probably sneak a couple more in here. Towards the bottom. Bunch of smaller folks. Yeah. Now that's a crowd. And now I never have to do this again for a while. Which is the real success story here. So now we're gonna do our... Oh no, that's not at all what I wanted to do. There we go. Gonna do our usual merging everything and then deleting a pixel so that it doesn't get weirdly compressed somewhere on the internet. And yeah, that's about it. Somehow we've done it. It's 11:20. I'm just now realizing. So this was a little longer than it felt like, but you know, we made it. We've done it. We're here. I'm glad I did this one on stream, though, because there were many costumes that you all suggested that I would not have come up with otherwise, so I appreciate you. But yeah, so, as you may be able to tell from this replay, that is going to be it for me. I'm going to end it here. Are they going to make out? Well, only time will tell. I can't spoil the ending for you. You've got to see for yourself what happens as Spooky Month continues. But yeah, so that's going to be it for me. The next time I stream should be Monday. So, you know, while we are waiting for that, go and be cool to someone. Do something nice for no reason other than just to be nice. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of your week, you know? Yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and you can see all of these goofy, wonderful characters on Twitter and Instagram in about 15 minutes, probably. Unless you're watching this on YouTube later, in which case it's already there, and you can go see it now. But yeah, so that's it for me. Good night, everybody, before I start rambling for another half hour. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.